Good morning. Welcome to the Upper Deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris, that's Tats, and join us. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. We're here. We're without Lynn this morning. She's got the week off, but Tats and we've got plenty to say.
Well, what's to say? The team is just terrible. They forgot how to play winning baseball, And like I said, it's highlighted how bad it is when even your ace has an off that just doesn't have it when we needed him to stop the bleeding. And if it was a normal baseball season where it was just like one bad off night from your ace, you're like, all right, it happens. But especially against the Red Sox, it's like salt on a wound.
It is like salt on a wound. Cole didn't have it yesterday. He went 4 innings, gave up 6 earned runs, 2 home runs to the bottom of the order, which was a little surprising. And just in general, Cole versus the Red Sox, in 11 starts, he's got a 5.86 ERA. Tats, do you think that he just doesn't pitch well against the Red Sox, or was it just a one-off yesterday?
No, the Red Sox have always been an issue for him.
Yeah.
He's had more tough games against them than ace games. So it's not like you could just say, well, we're just not going to pitch him against the Red Sox. He's too competitive for that.
Right.
It stems from that playoff game where he got shelled. And there's got to be an answer, to it. There's got to be some explanation. Is it he's trying to pitch like he would against anybody else?
Right.
Or are they game planning better than when they play against Cole?
Right.
Because the way they knock him around, it's puzzling. It really is. It doesn't make any sense.
No, and the timing couldn't have been worse for Cole to have a meltdown. The Yankees are in the middle of a 8-game losing streak, or was that 7 or is that 8 now?
It's 7 now.
Okay, 7-game losing streak. Things are not looking good for the Yankees. In fact, Boone was quoted yesterday as saying that we're sick animals in a lot of ways. Did you hear that, Tats?
No, I don't listen to him anymore.
Okay.
He's always going to do it add to my frustrations. No, I try to catch it at some point. I did not yet after yesterday's game.
Yeah, but, he said we're like sick animals, and I thought that was an unfortunate way to put it, actually.
Yeah.
It's almost like conceding defeat to say that they're like sick animals at this point, because the Yankees desperately need motivation right now, and that's like the opposite of that. Before I go any further, I want to start out the show with Spencer's trivia question, so we can mull that during the show and maybe come up with the answer by the end. Spencer's trivia this week, he says, at 60 and 63, for many New York Yankee fans, we've become volunteer passengers heading into uncharted territory. A New York Yankee team under 500 this deep in the season. It's just almost unthinkable. And he says that for myself, he sees a lot of parallels with the 1981 team, which he was in elementary school for. And that was the team that was playing. They were in first place and were playing well until the season was halted by the strike. When the season resumed, the Yankees struggled, and they were a shell of the team they were in the first half. And he says it was remarkable they made it to the World Series. This team was finding its stride, this current 2023 team, until Aaron Judge injured himself by crashing into that wall in LA. And things haven't been the same since then.
No.
He says the current losing streak stands at 7 games, but it's still not the longest losing streak in Yankees history. And if you know it, there is what he calls an alliterative connection. What year was the Yankees' last losing streak, and how many games was it? Okay, so that's the question. What year and how many games was the losing streak? All right, so let's take it from there.
All right, so the question is, to sum it up, how long was the longest losing streak in Yankee history, and what year was it? Is that the question?
That's the question. Yep. Yep, that's the question. Okay, so speaking of the last 7 games in a row, we lost 2 of 3 to the Marlins, 3 to the Braves, and now we're down 2 to the Red Sox. Tats, what the hell?
I think, it's Karen, I think, puts it perfectly for all. They packed it in. They don't care. They feel like, I think they've reached that point where they feel like there's no saving the season, and they're just going through the motions. That's just the way it feels. Is that really what they want? Do they really want to give up? No. I don't think anybody in that competitive nature, and especially people as competitive as Cole and Judge, and some of these guys, Torres wants to play well because he wants to be able to get a long-term contract when his number's called. IKF, he's playing for his career. Bowers, McKinney, they'll get picked up by somebody. Won't be the Yankees. Volpe's just trying to, at this point, I think, just trying to find who. Now he's going back to trying to figure out who he is as a major league player.
Right.
So he's going back into that, I feel, that developmental mindset.
Thanks for joining us, Jonah.
Everybody else that's in the chat, good morning. FJ, Michael H., Lori, Karen, Sunil. Good morning to everybody.
Morning to everybody. The Red Sox have outscored the Yankees 16-4, and all but one of the Yankee runs came from a Judge homer.
I think, what is it? In the last, I think it was 5 games, they've scored 4 runs or something like that. It might be the other way around.
Yeah,
that's not a Yankee offense. I'm sorry.
It's not. And in the last 7 games, we're batting 198, 14 runs in 54 innings. That's just incredible. 8 extra base hits, 3 of those home runs, batting 143 with runners in scoring position. And right there, that's the number that just jumps out at you.
I forget who tweeted it out. The other thing that was actually really disturbing, the Yankees don't have any players on their roster with 20-plus doubles.
No kidding.
I'm going to try to find it, but the Red Sox have 6 players with 20-plus doubles.
Wow.
Like, that just tells you how anemic this roster is.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter who they slot in. So you can't just say it's, our starters. It's the whole roster. Our whole offensive roster is anemic. And it's just an embarrassing season. It's one thing if you're losing, where you're playing competitive, you just don't have it all. Right? And you just, there's that one piece that's just not clicking and everything just kind of crumbles. The whole team is crumbling.
Yeah.
It's not the way sometimes it's not that you lose. It's not games that you lose. It's how you lose them.
That's right.
Like you said, they're not even showing up anymore.
No. Is the Yankee offense even worse since they hired Sean Casey? Not that I'm saying he's to blame, but it seems like they're even worse. I don't know. But at any rate,
I think it could be the fact that they brought it. They made the move too late, where
Oh yeah.
The morale was already beaten down. There was no saving this offense at this point. It's like when they waited so long to move Glaber back to second base that year. Where they kept, what was it, like 2 weeks left of the season, they finally realized he wasn't a shortstop. The damage was already done. So now you just, you're just covering it up. You're just putting a little smoke screen over it.
Right. Well, and speaking of personnel changes, I mean, Michael H. says the Yankees have completely given up on Boone. There is no way that a change isn't made for next year. I mean, everyone, I think Yankee fans, no matter how positive they are feeling that change is needed in this organization. And at whatever level that might be, I think there's a number of different opinions about that. But Tats, what do you think would be the biggest change that would impact this team going forward? Would that be Cashman? Would that be Boone? Would it be, what would be the biggest impact change?
I think the biggest impact would have to be firing Cashman, even though we know that's not going to happen.
Right.
But that would send a message across the board within the organization and to Major League Baseball and every other team that the Yankees are done fucking around.
Right.
You know what? We're not going to continue being an embarrassment of an organization. Right. So I think that firing Cashman has to be stage one, not Boone.
Right.
Boone is just going to be he's just a figurehead. He's just there to take all the bullets for the rest of the front office because he's not a true manager right now. He doesn't have his own say. The only time and I forget, somebody was joking around. It might have been Keith McPherson on the Fan. That's why he loves going to the bullpen so much, because that's the only time he has to make his own decision.
Ah, that's interesting. And I was listening to another podcast this week, Bronx Talks, and they were speculating if we fire Cashman, hire who? If we fire Boone, hire who? Let's speculate. Who would be your dream get?
For a manager?
For Cashman. Let's start with Cashman.
Oh, for Cashman?
Yeah.
Anybody. Anybody. No, and it's really it's that simple. One, it's not like with managers, where we could say, oh, this person would fit, that person would fit, like a Mattingly or Ron Washington, like we talked about, Mark DeRosa, Manny Acta. I'll throw that name in there for LI. But you have these players where, these candidates, where you're like, all right, you can see them as a man. It's not like we have this long list of notable guys or girls.
Right.
Because I think that what they really need to do is not so much go for somebody specifically. I really want them to start getting Rachel Balkovic up the chain.
Oh, yeah.
I want them to see them start really getting her primed to be an actual GM. But I don't know. I would not put her in a GM spot right away. I would maybe slot. And let's ask this question. Where's Sabian and Minaya in all of this? You don't even hear any criticism. Were they just brought in to kind of in the offseason to get us off of Cashman's back?
Right.
But they really have no role? Like, where are they in all of this? They can't be pleased. It doesn't matter what their paycheck is. They still have to be, they're still competitive people. They have no drive. They just there with their smokescreen for Cashman to continue doing what he's doing.
Right. I would love to see a whole fresh roll of new ideas come in. Somebody like Kim Eng from Miami is my dream GM. Although, I mean, of course, I'd love. Actually, the dream would be to get Theo Epstein, but we know that is never happening because I guess the Theo wants ownership wherever, if he would go somewhere. So it's not likely. What?
No, I think Theo is enjoying his role in the MLB front office.
I agree. I don't think he wants to be a GM.
He's done his work as a GM.
Yeah.
He ended the Cubs. He's already, what better accomplishment than that?
Yeah.
I don't think that he has the want
No.
to go back to a GM role and save another franchise.
Right.
I don't see it. Would I welcome it? Absolutely. Who wouldn't?
Absolutely.
With his track record, please bring him in.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be the thing. And
No.
for Michael's comment here with Jeter, all right, let's break this down, right?
Yes.
And it's I love Jeter. I think we all do. He's going to be that beloved player like Mantle was, and I think he's already at that status. The DiMaggios and all of them. I don't want to see that legacy with any black eye on it, because what the Yankees have forgotten, managers and GMs, they're hired to be fired, right? And I don't know where Chris went. She abandoned me. But I think that you have to be able that, right? Losing Chris, lost my train. She took my thoughts with her. Here she comes. Where is she? There we go.
Sorry, got kicked out.
No, that's all right. What happened?
Who knows?
I didn't touch anything, I swear.
No, it's me.
So, all right. Now, because when you left, you took my thoughts with me. I was like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
But, no, that's all right.
About Jeter as GM. And my thought on
Yeah.
Jeter as GM is, I bet you're like what you said about Theo. Jeter's probably done being GM. But if he weren't done, he would be a person that I would, of course, love to see come in and shake this team up. But actually, he's got a complicated relationship with the Yankees. Could you see it really ever shaken down anyway?
No, I don't see him. I see him almost in one of those roles like, near the end with Yogi Berra. He was always around, never officially a part of the organization.
Right.
He was just kind of, there to help, but not on a full-time basis.
Right.
And I think that Jeter needs to have that.
Yeah.
I think that will make him, even for any generations going forward, still that beloved Yankee. Not that that's that the Hall of Famer from the Dynasty years that just crapped the bed and made us worse as a GM.
Right.
I don't think that they want to have that narrative around him.
I don't think so either. I don't see it happening. And yeah, if we jump over to, let's just say that that Boone does take the fall. Some fans are suggesting that Boone might resign. I cannot imagine a scenario where Boone resigns. But if, let's just say by some miracle he does get fired, some of the names that were popped out there on Bronx Talks I thought were interesting. One of them was Joe Espada, the bench coach for the Astros. What would you think about that, Pats?
No, at this point I would kick Boone to the curb now. Just say, look, you to save yourself, run. And I would give the rest of the year to Rojas.
Okay.
He's already there. They're already familiar with him. He has experience with minor league players. He understands the New York market from his quick run with the Mets.
Right.
I think that would just be, I think that'd be the easiest transition. Not the best transition, but just easy.
Right.
Because it's not like we're going to bring somebody. There's nobody that we're going to bring in that's just going to just magically change the whole outlook of the season. The season's done.
This season's done. Absolutely.
The Yankees are on the verge of having back-to-back swept series.
Yeah.
And falling deeper under 500.
Yeah.
There's no saving this anymore. This is more just, all right, let's just get through the rest of this month. Let's get the September call up, see what we got, see if we can put a little life into this team. We're not making the playoffs. We might not get back to 500. Let's just see what we have.
Well, speaking of seeing what we have, why aren't we? I mean, why don't they bring up the kids?
Because we're smart, they're dumb.
I know. What the hell? I mean, do we want to keep watching these, Greg Allen? And yeah, do we? I don't know. I mean,
It, it's and good morning, Mr. Barrows. Yeah, he's at this point, any new person would be better than what Cashman and Boone are doing. Absolutely. And
right.
Dev, I see you. Yeah, good morning, Dev. But I think that the hardest thing to do at this stage is the fans are not going to agree on who to bring in. But we're at that weird stage where we want change so bad we don't care who. But there are going to be some. Oh, that's the guy you picked. What has he proven? Well, I think anybody would put more of an effort in than Cashman or Boone.
Right.
Hal needs to
Well,
wake up and realize that it's not. You've embarrassed this organization. Your GM should not have the same privileges as the Supreme Court, where it's a lifetime position. It doesn't work that way. A GM 10, maybe you push it to 15 years. Depending on the run you're going on and the job that he's doing. And then you need to keep things fresh. The Yankees have just gone completely stale. That'll work.
yeah. Yeah, and the Yanks need to get younger and more athletic. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, why won't they call the kids up? They're getting boos. Stan's getting loud boos. I mean, he's below 200 now. Bader he's had one home run since May. He's batting around 250, 252, something like that. I mean, these guys they're not really taking advantage of their opportunities, to say the least. It looks like there's zero heart, zero competitiveness out there with these guys.
No, Karen says it. There is no heart.
No, and the kids at least would have enthusiasm, and I think fans would have enthusiasm for the kids. I'm talking about, when I say the kids, I'm thinking Austin Wells, Peraza, Pereira, maybe even the pitchers. I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but I mean, Pereira's hitting 302 with 18 home runs and a 921 OPS. And yet we're running Greg Allen out there who's batting 150 or whatever it is.
No, they've gotten to that point where they're loyal to a fault, and they're loyal to the wrong people. What has Greg Allen done to deserve to keep getting this opportunity? And it's nothing against him personally. And that's always the thing. Yeah. Well, why are you going after him? He didn't do anything wrong, but when you look at the numbers on in the stat lines, he's not doing anything right either. He just doesn't have it. Everyone's like, well, you can't make room on the 40 man because who are you going to get rid of, Bowers or McKinney? Does it really matter?
That's it.
Like, real serious. Why are we worrying about them? Just bring up the kids. Stanton was the biggest waste of money I've ever seen. Please get rid of him. Well, that's easier said than done. He's got that no trade clause. I think sometimes these no trade clauses are such a disaster. I can't stand the no trade clauses. I really don't.
Oh
I don't like them. I think it's just a recipe for disaster. But
Brian, things are bad in Yankee land when even Brian Hoke is not a cheerleader anymore. Because he's like coming down a little bit on the Yankees. He was saying that let's, for one thing, the Yankees' chances of getting into the playoffs at this point are like 9%. That's not even remotely acceptable. But Hawk says, let's say 90 wins would get the Yankees into the playoffs. They'd have to go 30-9 the rest of the way. 30-9 the rest of the way. That's a 769 winning percentage. Not something they've even sniffed this year. Even the 98 Yankees had a 704 winning percentage. So we know that that's not happening.
Yeah, no, it's. Oh man, it's just when you look at some of these guys, I don't get it. I don't know why they keep why aren't they bringing these kids up? I said it on I used that for a big talking point of the Pinstripes After Dark debut show, where I put a lineup together that infused the youth with some of the veterans that can kind of get them through the rest of the season, and use this portion, use September as your pre-spring training.
Right.
So at least you'll have an idea of what you need in the off season. So bring up, let Peraza get his due. Bring up Florial, right? What's the worst that can happen? Are we really, bring up Pereira, bring up Wells, just point shit, bring up the ring guys at this point. Swap, bring everybody.
Yeah.
You're gonna cut, so you have to DFA Bowers, McKinney, Allen. Are you really breaking your bank by bringing up minor leaguers that'll make minimum wage? Is it really gonna fucking hurt you? The Yankees are worth, what is it, $7.8 billion, $7 billion plus, and you're gonna penny pinch over bringing up somebody to pay them. I think what's the minimum, 700? And half of I don't get it. It's just embarrassing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say FJ brings this up, and I think it's interesting because he goes, "Let's not be hypocritical about Stanton. Was there any fan any fan not excited when the Yankees acquired Stanton? I was happy about it, and I'll say this: up until this recent stretch, I've had Stanton's back. I've defended Stanton. I said he should have never been designated as a strict DH. He should not have been in that situation. Our patience only goes so far. My patience, personally, I'm running out of patience on Stanton. I think his time is up. I think his body's just broken down. So that's my stance on that.
Right.
But FJ, you're right on your second point. Who knew he was going to get old so quick?
Yeah. I was never a fan of bringing Stanton over myself because I didn't think we needed him when they got Stanton. But I was glad every time he hit a home run, though. I'm not going to lie. He's been productive. He's had some clutch he's had some postseasons for us, but currently not good. And it really highlights that the problems that Stanton does raise for a lineup, especially with his limitations. But all right, well, let me go ahead and give the answer to the trivia question.
Let's throw it out one more time.
Let's throw it out. The current losing streak stands at 7. What year? And this came from Spencer. I'm not going to read the whole preamble this time, but the current losing streak stands at 7. What year saw the longest losing streak in New York Yankee history, and how many was the streak? So if anybody knows the answer to that, throw it up there. And to finish the thought on Stanton, Tats, he's probably not going anywhere, just like Boone, just like Cashman. So our frustration is just mounting this team.
Yeah, I think one of the solutions I have for Stanton is to kind of Ellsbury him. Just pay him, keep giving him phantom industry and just pay him not to play. But at the same time, on the other side, Stanton really is still a very competitive person. He still has the want and the drive to play well. So he's gonna make that situation a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
You know, with the money that we're getting from the Marlins for him, it's not like his salary is breaking the bank. Use him as a bench player. You know, I think at this stage, he's the new Pujols. He doesn't have the everyday play in him anymore, but he can still
Right.
give you something. You know, they need to just look. We'll use you here and there. We'll give you a couple days a week. Look, you know it's not working. We know it's not working. We don't want to kick you to the curb because he's been a good Yankee in the sense of his handling of the media, his honesty. He's very transparent.
Yes.
You know, he's not trying to sugarcoat anything. If he's the first to say he sucks, and he's like, look, that when they asked him, doesn't the booing bother you? He goes, well, if I played better, I wouldn't have to hear it. He goes,
Right.
this is I brought this on myself. Who else in this day and age with all this? There's a lot of entitled professional athletes.
True.
He's not one of them. And if you're gonna have to pretty much go back to where it was like a 25-man roster, and he's your 26 to use. Maybe if you see a game where it's one-sided, lopsided one way or the other, to give him a few at bats, or maybe get Judge off his feet. It might have to come down to something like that. I really
Right.
I wish there was a clear answer.
Yeah, just like for most of the problems the Yankees are facing right now, the solution, it's like a hydra's head. Cut one off and five more appear. So
Yep.
it's just another one of those seemingly insoluble problems the Yankees have to mount. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us this week. Tats, thank you for filling in. I really appreciate it.
Well, let's put the answer.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
the.
Here I am forgetting about the answer. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
Hey, Joseph got it. Yeah, yay.
Shout out to Rob's father. He got that. That's Rob's father. So, Mr.
Okay.
Barrows, appreciate you checking us out.
Excellent. He got the answer right. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. Thank you to Spencer for providing us again with that fabulous trivia question.
That was a good one, Spencer. I liked that question.
And we want to thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, make a comment, find us on Twitter. We're always happy to chat. Looking forward to chatting every Sunday with you on the upper deck.
And as I always say, pay your pinstripe your pride and play hard.
All right, go Yankees.